Hey, boys and girls, good to talk to you again. It's interesting how much my life has changed, as I know yours has too. For example, today was the first day I've shaved since Saturday, and the only reason I chose to shave today was because I didn't want to look like a hobo on this video. I'm spending lots of time in the choir library doing data entry as well as writing and recording these devotionals for y'all. I still miss you very much, and I really look forward to a time in the future when it's safe for us to meet again. I miss the worship band teaching me new ways to play a song when what I had planned is inevitably subpar. I miss the levity of our handbell choir rehearsals and hearing about your lives as you come in the door. I miss having a really efficient choral rehearsal with the chancel choir and seeing your faces light up as you get into the music or when you mess up and laugh about it with your neighbors. But those times are coming back, my friends. We don't know when, but they are. Something else I really miss is teaching new hymns to our church. So if you're interested in learning something about hymns and how music gets chosen, stay tuned for another short FAQ section at the end of this video about metrical hymnody and song selection. Today's hymn is both old and new. We'll be focusing on the Charles Wesley hymn, Ye Servants of God, which was first published in 1744. However, the tune we'll be pairing it with today is not Lions, which I first learned this hymn with in the 1991 Baptist hymnal, that one right there, or Hanover, as it's paired in the 1989 United Methodist hymnal. Those in the chancel choir may remember that we have performed a piece by Dan Forrest called To the Lamb on the Throne, which is a 21st century setting of this 18th century hymn. Dan wrote a new tune called KINGWOOD New to the same poetic meter, 10, 10, 11, 11, and set it to Ye Servants of God in a really beautiful and artistic way. What's great about his setting is that he designed the tune to be very singable because he wanted the church to be able to join in. More on that in the FAQ section. First, some information about the hymn itself. See, in 1744, when Charles Wesley published it in a book called Hymns for Times of Trouble and Persecution, there was no small amount of political and religious turmoil in Britain. The newly formed Methodist societies were suspected of being merely disguised Roman Catholic societies and were accused of attempting to overthrow the crown, which was Protestant at the time. Wesley's original hymn has 17 stanzas, so we can thank the hymnal committee for including only 4 of those in our hymnal. The ones that are omitted are very specific to that time of persecution and violent opposition, so they were not included for use in general worship, which is, after all, what our hymnal is designed for. The text is a hymn of thankful praise to Christ for his victorious reign and for providing salvation for his people. It reveals the cosmic scope of Christ's kingdom. In the first stanza, servants refers to all Christians, not just clergy, to those made to be a kingdom, and priests to serve our God, as is stated in Revelation 5:10. To illustrate all these points, I've pulled the archive recording of the chancel choir performing this piece on April 28th of last year. The first time we sang this, in May of 2016, with a brass quintet, we weren't recording the services, so I don't have any footage of that one. But remember from back then that this one was a tune that we initially had to teach to the church in order for them to sing it with us. But now they know it well because it's written for the church as much as it is for a choir. see you gathered together very soon. In the meantime, stay safe and wash your hands. Okay, for those of you watching this short FAQ section, I again applaud you. A few points I'll be making here are the definition of the term and concept of metrical hymnody, the meters themselves, the word stanza as opposed to the term verse, and the reasons why I choose some songs and not others. First, metrical hymnody refers to the concept and practice of pairing a hymn text with a hymn tune. Pairing text with tune means they have to have the same meter. Now, I gave two examples of this at the beginning of the video. The first tune, Lions, and another tune, Hamburg, which we'll revisit soon. Ye Servants of God has a meter of 10, 10, 11, 11. Those are syllable counts. Ye servants of God, your master proclaim, is 10 syllables. And publish abroad his wonderful name is 10 syllables. The last two phrases, the name all victorious of Jesus extol, and his kingdom is glorious and rules over all, both have 11 syllables, which make up that meter of 10, 10, 11, 11. You can see this meter listed at the bottom of the page in our hymnal, along with the tune name. I'll try to get this in the frame. Along with the tune name. With this in mind, you can see how easy it would be to pair a hymn with a different tune so long as they have the same poetic meter, like so. Ye servants of God, your master proclaim and publish abroad his wonderful name. The name all victorious of Jesus extol. His kingdom is glorious and rules over all. And ye servants of God, your master proclaim and publish abroad his wonderful name. The name all victorious of Jesus extol. His kingdom is glorious and rules over all. Over the years, I've repaired hymns and tunes from time to time for various reasons, but mostly it's because I want the church to sing a particular hymn and text that's not in our hymnal. I can just pair it up with a tune they know, and it's much easier and quicker than teaching a new hymn altogether. What Dan Forrest did was just the opposite. He wrote a new tune to use with an existing text. This takes time in a practical sense. You have to teach it to the church, but it's very rewarding. In the 4 weeks prior to the first time the chancel choir sang To the Lamb on the Throne, I paired Dan's tune with a Lenten hymn, and we sang it every Sunday as the benediction response for the 4 Sundays leading up to Easter. I had to get permission from the publisher to do that, but they were very gracious and allowed me to use it for free. What I mean by writing something singable is exactly that. See, there's a ton of music out there that is very artistic, but very difficult for amateur voices. There are even a few examples of that in our own hymnal. Dan's tune, which he named KINGWOOD New, is specifically designed to be sung by a congregation. Moving on, some of you may have noticed that I have exclusively used the word stanza when many would just say verse. That's because I was taught that a verse in hymnody is simply a single line of poetry. A stanza is the entire iteration of the poem. Hopefully that clears things up. Finally, I've touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to talk just for a minute about why some songs get chosen and not others. The first thing I look to as a source for worship music is the lectionary. What are the lectionary texts for that day? What is Howard preaching on? Is it Lent? Is it Easter? Are we celebrating students? Are we celebrating mothers and fathers? All of these things are major factors. Another major factor is how well does the church know it? If they know it well, no problem. It's going in the service. If they know it but not very well, I usually throw in a reminder. The choir might sing the call to worship or the call to prayer on that tune before the church gets to sing it. That way, they've heard it at least once that day. I've been known to sneak in the tune of an unfamiliar hymn in several ways. In the early service, we teach a new song every month by deciding on a theme and choosing a song that fits that theme. We sing that song every Sunday of that month, and by the time we get to the last Sunday of the month, the church knows it. Then we get to revisit that song a while later so they don't forget it. This is just a snapshot of how music gets chosen in our church. If you've spent any amount of time with me, you know what an absolute nerd I am for church music in general. I could go on for hours, but in the end, it would probably just be me and Jane Woodward having a days-long conversation about this. Thanks for watching, y'all. See you next time.